If you are an anxious woman, then you are in the right spot. In this video, I'm sharing my top 5 tips to help you redefine your relationship with anxiety so that it no longer has power and control over you. My name is Dr. Bisley Natley. I'm the holistic brain doctor, and I teach women how to optimize their brain health so they can step into their peak potential and build the life of their dreams. Anxiety is such a strong emotion. It is such a strong emotion, and a lot of us aren't taught what anxiety is, how it impacts us, and so it really changes up the way that we cope with it. Because if we don't understand how something truly functions, how it affects our body and our brain, then it makes it really difficult for us to develop the appropriate coping strategies so that we can overcome it in a healthy way. One of the first tips that I have for you is start to see your anxiety as a sign that you need to support your body in a certain way. A lot of us have a very negative relationship with our anxiety. We feel anxious and we start to feel like there is something wrong with us. And this is by far one of the dangerous mindsets that you can fall into. Just because you have anxiety doesn't mean that there is something wrong with you. Instead, what you need to start doing is you need to start taking a step back and ask yourself, ooh, I'm feeling anxious. What is my anxiety trying to tell me? All emotions are signposts. All emotions are signs that you need to support your body in a certain way. And start to tune into what your anxiety is telling you. Honestly, for like a week, keep a journal around. Every time that you feel anxious, journal what is making you anxious. Why are you experiencing anxiety? What is your anxiety trying to tell you in a certain moment? Maybe you're feeling anxious because you suppressed your feelings, and when everybody asked, where people wanted to go out to, you didn't say anything, and now you feel upset because you're not going out to a place that you really wanted to go out to, right? Simple example. Maybe you're feeling anxious because you literally haven't moved your body in 10 hours and you've been sitting down, right, this whole time. Maybe you feel anxious because you didn't get a good night's sleep. Maybe you feel anxious because someone said something to you and you feel really upset about it, and instead of dealing with it and saying something back, you just let it go. But now you're just like, ooh, I shouldn't have let it go. I actually should have expressed myself in that moment. Anxiety can tell you so many things about yourself. Anxiety can tell you so many things and so many ways that you need to support yourself in that moment. So you need to get good at tuning in to see what that is for you. Emotions are our body's cries, literally. It's the ways that our body is telling us it needs support. And when you can start to get really good at understanding what is making you anxious, and I promise you, you'll probably find some sort of pattern in the anxiety. There's always some sort of pattern. And if we reflect on it and look at it deep enough, you'll find some sort of pattern. And what's that like common denominator that you notice? And when you start to notice that common denominator, that's how you build a strategy around it and help yourself overcome it. Such a simple exercise, but it is so powerful. I think what's also awesome about this exercise is when we start to feel anxious, we start to feel really bad about ourselves. It's like we feel anxiety and then we start to freak out. We start to go like, oh my God, what's wrong with me? Like, there's something broken inside me. Like I need to fix something. Like, oh my God, why am I feeling this way? And we get into this like, why me? What's wrong with me type mindset. And that mindset is honestly such a dangerous place to be in. Instead of thinking, why me? What's wrong with me? When you start to see anxiety as a sign that you need to support yourself in some way, anxiety starts to become a friend. And I think that is such a beautiful reframe. Instead of freaking out when we feel anxious, we start to dive deep and ask ourselves, how do we need support? What do I need right now in this moment? Anxiety is your friend. Anxiety is your friend, and it's telling you that you need to support yourself in some sort of way. And so that means you need to give yourself permission and space and time to quiet down, to take a step back so you can reflect and see what your anxiety is truly telling you in that moment. This is going to just completely change up how anxiety affects you and impacts you in your life. So start to see it as a friend. Tip number 2 that I have for you is when you start to experience anxiety, don't forget about the other things that can cause you to feel anxious aside from the mindset stuff. And by that, I mean food. A lot of us don't realize it, but the foods that we eat can make us really anxious, like really anxious. If you don't have the right gut flora, if you have a lot of dysbiosis, which means overgrowth of unhealthy bacteria in your gut, if you're not feeding your body the right nutrients, if you're eating junk food, even if you're like skipping meals, right? And you're not eating enough, All of these things can lead to anxiety. So next time when you feel anxious, take a step back and don't just ask yourself, okay, what am I thinking? What happened to me? But also ask yourself, what are the foods that I ate? Did I even eat anything? Did I go a whole morning and afternoon without eating anything? And all I've had was like coffee. If all you had was coffee, like you're gonna be anxious and you've eaten nothing else. Asking yourself, what about the quality of foods? Did you only have like carbs and protein and like no vegetables? If you don't have any vegetables, your body doesn't have the nutrients it needs to build all your feel-good hormones and neurotransmitters. So we need to make sure we're giving our bodies the right tools. And I think this is just a helpful question to ask in general too, because it just forces you to look at all the other things impacting your anxiety and causing you to feel that way. And if we treat our body poorly, we are going to feel anxious. So maybe when you have anxiety, it's actually your body telling you like, hey girl, we're missing nutrients. Like, hey, knock, knock, anxiety, like we're missing nutrients, girl. Like we need some veggies, right? Maybe that's what your anxiety is telling you. And you can try that to see if that makes a difference. I truly find that when I am eating really nutritious foods, I feel so good. And like, is that really a shock? That shouldn't be a shock to anyone that you eat nutritious foods and you start to feel good. Should not be a shock to anyone. Nutritious foods are going to make us feel really, really good. So next time you feel anxiety, tune in and just ask yourself, what are the foods that I ate? Tip number 3 that I have for you, one of the best things that you can do when it comes to you having anxiety is to step outside of your head and step into your body. And tip number 4, it kind of aligns with this, so I'll get into that in a bit too. But one of the biggest reasons we feel anxiety is because we're just all in our heads. We're overthinking about our past, or we're thinking about, overthinking and replaying a situation over and over again, or something that we said or did, or we're thinking about the future and have so much anxiety about the future, what it could hold, what will happen. And none of these things allow us to truly be present in the moment and where we're at. You know how you know you're present? Because when you're in your body is a tool. It's something that anchors you in the present moment. And the more that you can learn how to step outside of your head and into your body, the more present that you will be and the less anxiety that you will have. Like, how amazing and incredible are our bodies? And so we can use them as these beautiful, powerful tools to really step outside of our minds and step into who we are and where we are right now. It is such a powerful shift that has such a big impact on how we feel. So some of those things that help us step out of our mind and into our bodies, connecting with our breath, connecting with our senses, doing like progressive muscle relaxation, doing activities like Tai Chi, Qigong, yoga. These are just powerful exercises that force us to step outside of our head and into our body. Here's the other thing too. If you are someone who's constantly been living in this very anxious state, this is going to feel really, really, really hard. Like really, really hard. It might take you a really long time to unwind and truly step into your body. And I just want to tell you, like, that is okay. It doesn't mean that you aren't capable. It doesn't mean that you can't do this. It doesn't mean that you're forever doomed to stay in an anxious state. This is a practice. If you're just used to living in your mind, stepping into your body is going to feel like it's literally impossible. That doesn't mean it's not doable. It feels hard and challenging, but it doesn't mean you can't do it. And the more that you practice stepping into your body, the easier it's going to get. Maybe initially, if you try to meditate, it might take you like 15 minutes to truly step into your body. But as you practice it, it might only start to take 3 to 5 minutes over a few, months of you doing this exercise. That's the power of this. And what's beautiful, and I'm only speaking of this from experience, right? I used to just completely live in my head. Like, no wonder I was anxious and depressed. But when I started to practice stepping into my body, and I can do this in like 5-10 deep breaths now. In 5-10 deep breaths, I can step out of my head and step into my body. And I can anchor myself into the present moment that I'm in. Like, that's how powerful and amazing your body really is. So use it as that tool. And tip number 4, which aligns really well with this tip, is one of the best ways that you can get yourself out of an anxious state is to move your body. I work with so many women who are just like, I try meditating when I have a panic attack and it doesn't work. And I truly think that when you have a panic attack and when you have such a heightened state of anxiety, meditating and trying to calm it down with a deep breath is actually one of the worst things to do, because you're going to feel even more frustrated and like a failure because you probably won't be able to do it. When we're at a really heightened state of anxiety, and anxiety is just about like huge buildup of emotions within you, right? Like huge buildup of emotions. And one of the best things that you can do when these emotions build up so much that they result in anxiety is to move your body. Because when you move your body, it's kind of like you're telling these emotions, like, get it, like leave my body, right? So you want to find ways that you can actually move, and so you can release these emotions. For example, going on a simple walk, getting down and doing 10 push-ups. Sometimes when I'm really angry, what I will do is I'll grab my pillow and I'll like punch it 3 times, right? Because I need that energy to go somewhere so that I don't let that energy out on someone else with words or the things I'm going to say. So find healthy ways to release that energy. And when you're kind of doing this on a daily basis, like I'll work out every single day, I notice such a huge decrease in my anxiety because I'm constantly giving my body ways to release these like big emotions, built up and pent up emotions within me. Such a powerful and underrated way to overcome anxiety is by moving your body. Instead of trying to tell your body to calm down via breath or by doing these like really gentle sitting things, move your body, right? So if you like the deep breathing stuff, maybe instead of sitting down and doing it, you're doing something like Tai Chi or Qigong, where you're moving your body and releasing these emotions, or you're doing an exercise like yoga, right? It still helps you connect with the breath, but you're also moving your body and giving that energy a place to go. Literally by far one of the best things that you can do when you get anxiety. The last tip that I have for you, which is another really, really powerful tip, is to find a sense of safety when you start to experience anxiety. Anxiety is essentially your body's way of telling you that you're not safe, and there's a reason for that. And that was tip number 1 that you need to dig into and see what that reason is. When you're in that anxious state, the sympathetic nervous system is the nervous system that's turned on the most. And so that sympathetic nervous system is telling you you're stressed out, you're in a dangerous place. And so if you can try to find a sense of safety and reminding yourself that, hey, you're actually safe in this moment. And also please make sure that you are legitimately safe. If you're in a place where someone is hurting you or you're actually in danger, then listen to your anxiety and like run away, right? But we're talking about in those day-to-day moments where you are actually legitimately safe, but you're still experiencing that anxious moment. The best thing that you can do is find a sense of safety. This is why people love like little fidget spinners. Some people will keep like little crystals with them or some cards or whatever it is, or photos of people they love. Because when you feel a sense of safety, it helps to calm that sympathetic nervous system response down. So that's something you need to think about too. Do you always feel anxious at work? Then it's asking yourself, how can you create a sense of safety in that environment so that you feel safe at work? Maybe it's in your room when you're by yourself. What does it look like to create a sense of safety? Is there something like little that you can carry around with you to remind yourself that you are safe? I find that if I ever get into an anxious state, just literally reminding myself like, I am safe, everything is okay. I have people who love me, and listing out people who support me and who love me and are there for me. It just really helps me to create a sense of safety, or just check marking all the ways and reasons as to why you're safe, right? Maybe there's a security guard there or people that are there or whatever it is. You need to get creative and think about how to make this safe for you, because anxiety is telling you you're not safe, even if you legitimately are safe. So you need to see how you can calm that response down, get creative, and build a sense of safety around you. I would really try to encourage you, when you try to develop this sense of safety, avoid doing it in a way where you are dependent on someone else. So you might be like, I feel safe because there's people around me. But then what's going to happen when you're by yourself? Or literally when you close your eyes and it's darkness, right? You want to feel safe regardless. So nothing wrong with looking at other people for a sense of safety. I'm sure we all find some level of safety with that, but you want to make sure that that's not the only thing that you are doing to try to find a sense of safety. You also want to make sure that you are developing a sense of safety independently and as yourself. And that's something that you turn to and can turn to when you feel like there's no one else around you, because you want to create an independent sense of safety, so that even if people aren't around you, you still feel safe within yourself. And I guess that's the bigger question. How do you feel safe within yourself? How do you trust yourself and who you are? How do you build a sense of safety and know that in the body and the life and the mind that you have, that you are safe, that you got yourself? feel like that could be a whole other video right there, but create that sense of safety within you. And when you start to talk to yourself nicer, when you take care of your body better, and when you just start to love the heck out of yourself, you start to create a safe home within yourself. So look at how you're talking to yourself. Look at how you treat yourself and make sure that you do it with the utmost kindness and love. Because when you love the heck out of yourself, when you treat yourself really well, when you take care of your body, you create a sense of safety within your home that is you, within the home that is your body that you carry around with you. So these are the tips that I have for you. I hope that this kind of gave you a bit more of a unique perspective on your anxiety. Make anxiety be your friend. It's telling you need to support yourself in some sort of way. Remember to look at all the other areas and ways that, could be causing you to feel anxious, like your sleep and your movement. We talked about how moving your body is one of the best things that you can do to kind of release that energy. And then lastly, trying to find that safety, that home within you to tell yourself that you are okay. I hope that you found these tips to be helpful. Thanks so much for showing up for yourself here, girl. You should be so proud of yourself and the effort that you are putting in to be a better you. Remember to like and comment below if you found this video to be helpful, and don't forget to subscribe.